In this training module, you're going to learn how the German AFB cruise control system works. Many German trains use this type of cruise control, and much of the fundamentals you learn here will apply to other trains that have some equivalent form of cruise control. It's important to note that there are fundamentally two types of cruise control. One is an active system like AFB, which will manage your speed positively using throttle and brake as needed. The other is a speed set system, which is useful for setting a maximum speed. Speed set could usually maintain your speed, but can't reduce it as easily as a system like AFB. For this exercise, you'll be doing 2 laps of the main loop here at the training center. The first time around, you'll be learning how to set up AFB and use it from standstill. The second time, you'll learn how to enable AFB while your train is already running. Set up the train, but don't start moving yet.
Störung.
Turn the AFB system on.
AFB.
You can now set the target cruise speed using the AFB lever. Set it to 40 km per hour for now. Release the brakes and apply power. As the train accelerates, you can apply more power as needed. The train has reached its cruise target and has cut power. It will now manage the speed as needed automatically. You can leave the power handle with the power applied, and this grants the amount of power available for AFB to use. Increase the AFB lever to 80 km per hour and watch the train accelerate to the new target. increase the AFB lever back to 40 km per hour and see the train will manage itself back to 40 km per hour. Coming back to the platform, so set the throttle to off and get on the brakes as needed to come to a stop somewhere in the station. Getting AFB running while stationary is quite straightforward, but sometimes you may want to activate it while you're on the move without having to stop. Set the AFB lever to off and turn the AFB switch to off so that we can try that exercise next.
AFB, 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 AFB.
Doing about 40 kilometers per hour, it's time to get the AFB system enabled. First, completely cut the power handle to off. Next, set the AFB to the maximum position. Don't worry, it can't do anything because the power handle is set to off. Now activate the AFB switch to turn AFB on.
AFB, AFB, AFB.
Move the AFB lever to 80 kilometers per hour so it can speed up. Finally, apply some power. Notice that we're now accelerating, and if all has gone well, you'll see the power cut out around the 80 kilometers per hour mark as AFB is managing your speed. Pretend there's a signal restriction coming up ahead and you need to apply the brakes. Use the brake lever to bring the train down to around 40 kilometers per hour and then release the brakes. Notice how even though the cruise control is set to 80 kilometers per hour still and power is applied, it's still not accelerating. This is because the brake application caused a throttle lockout. To reset it, you need to put the power back to off and then reapply it. Perfect. You're accelerating back up to 80 kilometers per hour. headed back to the station again, so bring the throttle to off and use your brakes to bring the train to a stop in the platform. It is important to remember that a cruise control system like this is no substitute for the driver paying attention and remaining responsible for the train. Cruise control systems also cannot be relied upon to slow the train at an appropriate rate when approaching red signals or speed reductions, so you should be ready to use your brakes as needed. That concludes this module. If you wish to replay it, you can come back to it at any time via the training center.